Okay, so this lesson is about the heart. Now, the heart is quite a complicated organ inside your body. So let's have a quick look at this one. For grade C, we need to recall the grouping of cells to form tissues, organs, and also organ systems. For grade B, describe the different components that make up the heart. And for grade A, explain how the heart pumps the blood around the body. Okay, so first of all, a little bit of revision from Key Stage 3. We should know that we have all cells making up our body. We've got our cell membrane, we've got the cytoplasm, and the nucleus. Now, a group of the same cells working together is referred to as a tissue, and we can see that all those cells are the same. Now, a group of tissues working together to form a similar function is called an organ, and the organ then forms an organ system. So what I have here as an example is a stomach cell, a stomach tissue made up of stomach cells, and the tissues working together form the stomach. Now the stomach would then go into an organ system, and in this case the stomach is part of the digestive system. What I want you to now do is think of your own type of cell, a tissue that it would form, the organ that it would form, and the system that that would belong to. And once again, you can pause the video here while you complete that, or complete it at the end of the video. Okay, so describing the different components that make up the heart for grade B. First of all, there are two sides to the heart. One side deals with blood that doesn't have any oxygen in. This blood's coming from the body and going to the lungs. And the other side deals with the oxygenated blood, which is represented in red. Now, you might think that this is the right and this is the left side of the heart. It's actually the other way around. The right side of the heart carries oxygen-poor blood. We call this deoxygenated blood. And the left side contains oxygen-rich blood. Now, the reason that it is the opposite, left and right, to what you would be used to, is because you're looking at the heart on a person. So imagine that you're looking at a friend's heart. Okay, so you're facing them and you're looking at their heart. The right side would be the opposite way around, your right. Again, oxygen-poor blood, or blood that doesn't have much oxygen in, is referred to as deoxygenated, and this will be represented by blue colouring on my diagrams. And the left side, which has lots of oxygen, will be oxygenated, and this will be represented by red. Okay, so let's have a look at the different heart chambers. Okay, there are 4 chambers in total in the human heart. We have the top chamber on the right hand side called the right atrium, and the exact same on the left hand side, the left atrium. The chambers beneath are called the ventricles, so we have the right ventricle and we have the left ventricle. Now the left side of the heart is a little bit bigger than the right side. We'll talk about why a little bit later. Now we need to talk about the blood vessels which are coming into and leaving the heart. So the first blood vessel is the vena cava. Now this is bringing deoxygenated blood from the body. Okay, so this is the blood that's coming from all the different cells in your body, whether it be in your feet, your digestive system, everywhere. Okay, and it's got no oxygen in. So this blood would be high in carbon dioxide, low in oxygen. We then have the pulmonary artery. Okay, this artery is taking blood which has no oxygen in to the lungs. We then have the pulmonary vein. This is bringing the blood back from the lungs, which has lots of oxygen in, hence the red colour. And we then have a very important vessel called the aorta, and this is a very, very thick blood vessel which transports oxygenated blood under high pressure all around the body. Now there's another feature of the heart which makes it a very important organ. Inside the heart, all these chambers are separated by valves. Okay, so we have an open valve here. We can see that there is an opening between the atrium and the ventricle, allowing blood to flow through. We also have another open valve here between this atrium and this ventricle here. Now here we have two closed valves. We can see that the valve is closed to prevent any flow of blood from going backwards, which we'll see in a second. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to add labels to the heart. And again, you can pause the video, rewind it, go back and have a look at all the different chambers if you can't remember them. The white boxes, you need to type in the parts of the heart, and the yellow boxes are for the different chambers and blood vessels that you need to be filling in that we've just talked about. Okay, so for grade A then, we need to be able to explain how the heart pumps blood around the body. Now, just to show you what's happened on my animation here, currently I have deoxygenated blood, this dark blue blood, okay, which is inside the right atrium, and I also have oxygenated blood, which is inside my left atrium, because your heart pumps, there's two separate pumps, one pumping to the lungs, one pumping to the body, and it does this at the same time. So we're going to be talking about what's happening at each stage as this happens. So you'll notice that if we just take the right side of the heart, the right atrium is full with deoxygenated blood, and this valve towards the ventricle is now closed. Now when we push that blood through, that valve should open, which it does there. So we've now got the atria emptying and the ventricles filling. So now we've got the right and left ventricle, they're both filled. Now the right ventricle will be pushing the blood up here, and this will be on the way to the lungs. The left ventricle will push the blood through here, which is on the way to the body, which we can see that going. Now, as that pushes through, we can see that this valve closes, but this one opens, and that's because we want the blood to flow up through these vessels, but we don't want the blood to flow back into the atria, because in a couple of seconds' time, they will be filling again with more blood from the body and more blood from the lungs for this one. Okay, so the valves are very important because they prevent the backflow of blood. And we can see the blood then leaving the heart. And the process repeats. Now we're switching to watch the short video clip. This will talk you through how this actually happens. Now you can see on this video we've got the names of the valves, the tricuspid and the bicuspid. We don't need to know the names of those valves. Okay, we just need to know that they are there and what they are there for. Okay, so just watch this video and this will help you fill in the second part of your sheet. So we've got into the atrium, valves open through the ventricle, up through the blood vessels. Atrium, ventricle, blood vessels. Okay, I'm going to pause that. And this is your third task. So explain how the heart pumps blood around the body. And you're going to do this as a flow chart. I've started you off with the first stage. So the blood from the body enters the right atrium. This blood has no oxygen in, so we would say that it's deoxygenated for better keywords. And it enters the heart through the vena cava. Now for each stage in this, you need to say whether the blood has oxygen in, where it's coming from, where it's going to, and you should really say where the blood is. So whether it's in an atrium, a ventricle, or whether it's going out through a blood vessel.